your phone for your ticket to get into anything, concerts, baseball games, football games, whatever. You know, you can download the ticket on your phone and you use your phone for the for the ticket. They don't they don't issue they don't send you like regular tickets and stuff, paper tickets. They don't send you those anymore. Everything's on your phone nowadays. So I have well I got two things, two websites on my phone. I have StubHub and Ticketmaster. So I have them listed on both of them because the ticket to the concert, and then I also have a parking pass ticket of where I'll be parking at down there next to the stadium where the concert's going to be at. So so I already have a place where I'll be parking and stuff. It's all paid for and everything. So oh yeah, they started. Their band started originally in 1973, and they well the the group at that time, they're from like London, England, or whatever. But when the band formed in 1973, they were living in Australia. So so they technically consider themselves from Australia. But like the guy that was the lead singer, because the band formed in 1973, was the lead singer Bon Scott. He died in 1980, so he died like 73. He died like 7 years after the band formed. So then a new lead singer by the name of Brian Johnson, he became the lead singer, and he's been with them ever since. And he's right now Brian Johnson is somewhere in his mid to upper 70s, and the guy that is the lead guitarist, he's like almost the same age. So, so in all the different times that I have seen him over the years, I the only one that I never saw was the original lead singer Bon Scott, because like I said, he was only with the group for 7 years before and then he passed away. He was only 33 years old when he died, and so but yeah, Brian Johnson took over, and in 1980, um, same year that Bon Scott died, ACDC put out an album called Back in Black, and it was a tribute. The whole album was a tribute to the original singer Bon Scott, and that album Back in Black. There's only one album that was higher selling than that one. Only one album. That was Michael Jackson's Thriller. That's the only that's the only album. That's the number one selling album in the world, was Michael Jackson's Thriller, and then uh, AC/DC's Back in Black is the second highest selling album in history. So ACDC is out. They've outsold like the Beatles, Elvis Presley, some really big names and stuff. I mean ACDC, because of the fact that they started in the early 70s. 1973 is when they first started. They're considered a classics, like a lot of the classics that I listen to. Um, ACDC, even though they're still together now, I mean, there's been new members here and there and stuff, um, but they're considered classic rock and roll because they've been around for so many years. So, so I'm sure I'm going to have a great time when I go down there Wednesday because I get off of work. I work Wednesday. I'm scheduled. I'm scheduled 7 to midnight tomorrow, and then Wednesday I'm scheduled from 6 a.m. to 2 well, I'm scheduled your time 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. So I'm scheduled 8 hours Sunday or Wednesday, I mean. And I probably won't be there the whole 8 hours. Like last Wednesday, I think I clocked out at like 10 minutes after 1. So I left like 50 minutes before, my scheduled time, but I made that up, you know, before the week was over. So, so like last week, I was scheduled for 31 hours and I got 32.3, which is 32 and a half hours. So, so hopefully when I get my next paycheck, which will be Friday of next week, that's when I'll buy my airline ticket. Yep, you and your dimple. So yeah, uh, Friday of next week, I'm hoping to buy my airline ticket, my round trip ticket, and so then once I get that, I don't know whether I have my passport yet or not. And see, they said 2 to 3. I should have it in 2 to 3 weeks. Well, that is from the time that the State Department got all the application and everything in. It's not from the time that it was dropped off at the post office and mailed to the State Department. It's from that 2 to 3 weeks was from the time that the State Department received the application, which would only been it was they probably had it like 2 days after I dropped it off. So I went on my computer and I signed up for email notifications, like like any updates on it and stuff, and how the process is going, and then it'll let me know when it's been mailed, to me and stuff like that. So just matter of waiting. But then, of course, once I get my passport, then I got to go down and I got to get that special driver's license that has like a star on it, so that I can fly because it's a government, ID that allows me to fly then. Because anybody that flies, whether it's just here in the United States or going to another country, you have to have anytime you're getting on a plane to fly, no matter where it is or how short of a flight, you have to have this new government ID. So once I get my passport, I'll go down to the Department of Motor Vehicles and get my new government ID, and it'll also be mailed to me, and that'll probably take a week to 10 days for them to mail it to me. So So hopefully I'll have everything before I leave August 9th. Because if I don't have everything, then I can't leave August 9th. So I'm hoping that I have everything by then. I'm hoping I have everything done and have everything that I need by the end of this month. That way, I won't have to worry about, well, I don't have this, so I'm still waiting on it to get in the mail or whatever. So I'm hoping by the end of July that I have everything that I need. So right now it's just a matter of, you know, waiting for everything. So Huh? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's the same. It's the same pill. Yeah. Huh. I don't know. Yeah. Well, they probably, it's just different packaging. One's like, aluminum foil or whatever, and the other one's blue in color. It's probably just the packaging. Well, what it is probably is is who it's made by, as to what it looks like in the package and stuff. So we get stuff like that at work all the time. Well, like we'll have strawberries that come in that we sell, and they're from a certain manufacturer, and then we get the next delivery we get of produce, like because we get deliveries of produce on Monday and Thursday. Monday, the strawberries we get, be from somebody, a certain, company or farmland or whatever, and then the stuff that we would get on Thursday would be from somebody different. They never stay the same. It always changes. It just depends on who they get the stuff from. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have no idea, hon. I really don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. If it's the same price, I wouldn't worry about it. Because if the new one is bigger in size and it's the same price as what it was before, then it's not like you're losing money. Because if the new pill is bigger, then you're getting more for the same price. So there's nothing wrong with that. So what are you going to do today? Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to go out and do a bunch of walking and running and whatever and stuff outside, so you can record a lot of videos. Oh, and you're going to do your laundry? Okay. Yeah. So have you? I know you're recording right now, but do you have a lot of stuff recorded that you could to upload? Okay, I didn't know if you had a bunch of stuff yet. Okay. Yep. uh, and my giving plasma today was fine. I mean, no bruise at all. Matter of fact, when the girl put the needle in, she got it on the very first time. She didn't have to move it around or nothing. It went straight in. It went in easy peasy. Huh? Yeah, that's what I was just telling you. Everything was fine. Yeah, everything went fine today. So, nope, no bruise. And I mean, I'll know more like tomorrow because usually, right away, I mean, just looking at it right now, there is no, there is no bruise, or there will be no bruise. So, but I'll just have to wait and see what it looks like tomorrow. I mean, I've still got my other arm that I can use. And then, of course, when I go back up on Friday, when I go back up on Friday, I will, if I'm at the same weight that I'm at right now, I'll be getting, instead of $80 on Friday, I'll be getting $78 because my weight is down. Because to get the 50 and 80, I have to be at 230 pounds or higher. And as of today, I was at 228. So if it's below the 230, then on my second visit, it will be $78 instead of 80. So, and I'm not going to eat a whole bunch of food, and put 2 pounds back on to just get that extra $2. So, so if I lose $2, I lose $2. But I'm not going to eat a whole bunch of food just to get my weight back up to 230 pounds. So, and when I seen my doctor Monday, not Monday, but Friday of last week, when I had my yearly wellness visit, you know, and stuff that, um, he was glad to see that since like May that my weight has been coming down. Because, I seen the lady that works in my doctor's office, her first name is Julie. So, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name. And so I just call her Dr. Julie because I don't know how to say her last name. So I just say, like when I saw her in May, said, when she came in and stuff, I said, "Oh, hi, Dr. Julie," because I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Now, my primary doctor, the one I just seen last Friday for my yearly wellness thing, his name is Christopher Bursley. So when he comes in, I just say, "Oh, hi, Dr. Bursley," because I know his name. So, and of course that female doctor, I'll be going to see her again in November because um, every 6 months in May and November, I go in just for, a routine follow up. It takes like 15 minutes just to in and out of the doctor's office, just regular routine checkup every 6 months. So I seen Dr. Julie in May, and I'm scheduled to see her again in November, for my 6 month checkup. So, but, but yeah, Dr. Bursley's my primary doctor. He's the one I've had for almost since I moved down here in June 1st of 2017. So it was later that year when I went and made when the first time I ever saw him and stuff, and then it just became my regular family doctor then. So. Mm, I can't wait. Less than a month away, and I will be kissing those lips. Yes, holding you, giving you the biggest hug ever, and kissing you right on the lips. Mm, mm, yeah, yeah. And earlier, after I got home, my fan that I have, I tore it all apart and everything because the fan blades inside of they're plastic and stuff. But because it sucks the air in from the back side and it blows it out. And so any kind of dust or anything that's in the air, it sucks it in, and the the grills of the front and the back plus the blades, were all dirty. So I tore it apart today and cleaned it up real good and everything. I took the parts into my into the bathroom, or in the bathtub, and I just used my shower head, and rinsed it all off and everything. Then I put it all back together, and it runs a lot better when it's nice and clean. So, and I did some moving around some furniture. Like I used underneath my TV, I had like a little cabinet, like, well, not cabinet, but shelf thing that had it had three shelves on it. Well, I took everything off of it and I moved it over in the corner and stuff. So now I got, you know, um, I had a shelf unit sitting in my bedroom that had four shelves on it. Well, the one that was over underneath my TV, exactly the same thing. So I added those three shelves to the four shelf that I had in my over by my in my bedroom area. So now I have this big, huge, tall thing that's seven shelves high, and it's like that big distance between each shelf. So it's like a little over a foot, distance between each shelf, and the shelf is now, the bookcase is now 17 shelves high, or seven shelves, I mean. So it's very high right now. But, I still got to go through everything, I've got all the paperwork and everything that had laying here and laying there and just laying everywhere. I got everything, just laying on the floor back here, you know, by my bed. And I just got to go through everything now. I'll eventually get to it. But, and I put the leaf back in my table that my computer's sitting on. So, it's like a foot wider now than what it was. So, eventually once you get here, I can move my computer screen over, and there'll be room for you to set yours on the table also with your laptop. That way, the laptops and the computer, well, the TV screen thing like you got, and stuff. I got the same thing, a TV flat screen. So there'll be enough room to set both of them on the table, and that way you can, have my computer hooked into one, and you'll have your computer hooked into the other, laptop and stuff. Now, do you have a laptop, or do you have that? You got that tower that you were saying something about the mouse, was inside of it or whatever. So that's your computer. Is that is what they call a tower? And you just have a keyboard. Is that what you have? Now, do you have a laptop, or do you have a computer? You have the computer tower, right? Okay. So there'll be room where you can just set that underneath the table right on the floor and stuff, and then run the wires, up for now your keyboard, is it wireless, like, so you don't have to have a wire running from the keyboard and plug it into the computer? Is yours wired? Is your keyboard wireless? Because see, mine is. My keyboard and my mouse I bought together, so I only have to have one little, plug-in thing that plugs into the computer. That way I could have it's a wireless mouse, and a wireless keyboard and stuff. And I mean, my laptop has got, keys on it and stuff, but I never use it because when I turn my computer on, I only open my laptop about much just to turn it on and stuff. I don't open it all the way because I got that big, TV screen that's hooked into my laptop. So instead of watching the little, screen on the laptop, I have this big, TV screen that I can see, look at, and it's bigger, so you get, it's better on your eyes and stuff because you're not, squinting to look, see what, you're reading on the laptop. You have this nice big TV screen, and that's what I have. I have my laptop hooked into it, so that way I can see everything, in nice, big, pictures or whatever stuff. You have a computer table. Now, how? Oh, they got it. Oh, she got it. Okay. Well, I mean, you don't have when you come here, you don't have to bring it if you don't want to, because there's plenty of room. The table I've got mine setting on, it's probably like 6 feet long by about 5 feet from like front to back. So there's plenty, there'll be plenty of room to have our, you know, TV screen, two TV screens sitting on it, plus our laptop, well, my laptop, and then your computer, which will be sitting down on the floor. But then have the wires running up to the screen and stuff. So, so yeah, there'll be plenty of room for everything. And I'm still checking on, I'm still checking on, you know, different places like the, um, like prices of, different places, trying to find something that, you know, that will be bigger, so there'll be more room for both of us. And, you know, so we just have more room. I mean, there are some places that I've come across where it's 2 bedrooms, but we could probably use 1 bedroom for, our computers and stuff, and stuff like that. So we could just use 1 bedroom for, set up our computers and everything, and then the 1 bedroom, of course, to sleep in and stuff. So, I'm just right now. I'm just looking. I don't plan on moving. It probably won't be until next year, like when spring, when spring shows up, when it starts getting a little bit warmer. Once winter's over with and stuff, then I'm gonna try and, you know, find a place that would be bigger for both of us and stuff. So there'd be more room for us. So right now I'm just looking, checking out different places, checking out prices and all that kind of stuff. So trying to find something and, that'll give us more room, together and stuff. So well, right now, I mean, if I'm still living here, we would just have to, we would just have to have it here, and and that's why I'm trying to find something that's bigger for, a bigger place for us to live at, where there'd be more room, and so if I'm still right here whenever it is that you get, to come here next year, if I'm still living at the same place, we'll make it work somehow. So by there, what? Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I would love it if I could find, a reasonably priced place that would be like a house here, like yeah, you know, rent to own and stuff place where you pay, your rent monthly and stuff, and all of that will be going toward the purchase price of the home. I would love to find that rather than just, an apartment, like I live in now, just apartment. I would love it if I find this, not no big house, but, a house. It doesn't have to be a big house. Yeah, yeah. I mean, something that's got, you know, a kitchen, a living room, a bedroom, you know, a CR, and stuff, you know, and it doesn't even have to have a garage where I could park my car because my car's always been out in the winter. So it, in the wintertime, I have to go out and clean the snow off and stuff like that. And I've always parked outside. I've never ever had a garage where I could park inside of a garage. It's always been, I've never even had a carport where it's open, but there's like a roof, and stuff over where you would park your car. It's just called a carport. That, huh? No, not where I live. No, everybody parks outside. Anybody that lives here, there are no garages. Everybody just parks out, in, wherever, the parking lot and stuff. So, no, there's no garages here. Yeah, but in the wintertime, I just, now like me and Charlie, you know, when their snow starts falling and stuff, maintenance eventually comes around. Like, they got a tractor that has a snow plow on the front, like a snow blower on the front of the tractor and stuff, and eventually they come around and clean the sidewalks off and they shovel the snow off of the steps and stuff like that. But me and Charlie, when it starts snowing, we both got snow shovels. So we get out and, the sidewalks and the steps and everything in front of where we live and stuff. Charlie and I get out there and clean them all the time. We don't wait for maintenance to eventually get around and do it. We just get out and do it ourselves. So yep, we just clean all the snow off the sidewalks and stuff. We don't do all of them. We do them like right in front of our apartments and stuff. And then I usually do the sidewalk that goes up through, where I walk up the steps and stuff. I usually get out there and go, shovel all the snow off of that. Then I sprinkle some ice melt. It's like salt, snow salt, but it's just like little tiny round pellets. It's called ice melt. And I've got underneath my computer table, I've got a jug. It's got about that much in it, from last year that I never used. And the jug is about that big. So, and when I go out and when I put the salt down, I just sprinkle some in my hand, and then I just shake my hand around and spread it around rather than just dumping a whole bunch of it and making a real mess. I just like sprinkle it around and stuff. Put it on the sidewalks. That way, if somebody's walking and stuff, they without with the ice melt and stuff, it makes it so that they don't slip and fall on the sidewalks. I mean, maintenance puts down their salt too, but they just put so much down that you're coming home and stuff, and it's like you track it in your apartment and stuff. Even though I have a mat outside my door where I can wipe my feet off and stuff, they just put so much salt down. It's ridiculous. And but they're the ones that pay, they're the ones that have to pay for the salt and everything. So you know, I don't know. They just they it just seems like they waste a lot of salt when they're putting it down on sidewalks and stuff. Yeah, when they do the when maintenance does snow removal and putting salt down in the wintertime and stuff on the sidewalks, they just put so much salt down. It's not regular salt, like you would use for cooking or whatever. It's not that kind of salt. This is rock salt. Yeah, for the wintertime you spread the salt around on sidewalks and stuff. Yeah, yeah, that's the purpose of salt. You clean the sidewalks off first, then you put some salt down on them, and then if there's any more snow that comes down, the salt will help melt it when it hits the sidewalk when it comes down. So, but yeah, it's like I said, me and Charlie, the three apartments here in the front of the building, we just clean them all the way across. Between Charlie and I, we get out there, and we do it. Sometimes I'll do it before I go to work in the morning. I'll leave an extra like 5 to 10 minutes early and go outside and shovel snow before I leave to go to work. Well, hon, you know what time it is? It's 8:55. So in 5 minutes, I'll be shutting my lights and computer or my, you know, not my camera off, but I'll be turning the light off underneath the camera, turning this light off, and going to bed. I will. But, but I mean, if you're awake or if you're home or whatever, I'll talk to you in the morning before I go to work. But if you're out and about or if you're sleeping, then you're having a if you're out and about, you'll be having a good time. So when I go to bed here in like 4 minutes now, then you know if I hear from you in the morning, I do. If I don't, then I'll see you when I get off work. 'Cause like I said, I work. Of course, yeah, I mean you might be in bed, because I don't know what time you went to bed and stuff, because I was well, I don't know when you got home because your phone, like when we said goodnight, your phone was like down to 2%, and so I figured, well, we'll say goodnight and everything while you were, while you was, in the Jeep ride, going home, and so I don't know, I don't know what time you got, home and what time you went to bed, or all I know is that when I got back from giving plasma, I turned your camera on and stuff and seen you were laying there sleeping. So I figured, okay, at least she's home. Oh, you went to bed at midnight? Okay. I didn't know for certain what time you went to bed. All I know is that you know, when I said goodbye, I know because at that point you were down to 2% on your phone. So I figured, oh, it's going to die before you get home anyway. If you would have kept it on, so I figured, well, we'll just say goodnight and stuff, and then then I got my shower and everything this morning, and then got in my car and headed up to Medina to give my plasma. And when I got home, I turned your camera on and stuff and seen you sound asleep. So I figured, well, okay, at least she made it home. That's good. So, and I didn't know what time you went to bed because by the time I drove up there, gave the plasma, and then drove back down here and stuff, and I bought myself some new socks. I got them at Dollar General, so it was 6 packs for like four, 6 pairs of socks, and it was like $4 for the 6 pair of socks at the Dollar General store. So at least I got some new socks because every one of my socks that I had holes in the bottom of them because I've had them for almost 2 years. My sister Sharon, she bought me a package of socks, and that was the ones I had been wearing, and I just wore them to the point where there was holes in every one of the socks. So I figured, well, it's time to get some new socks because she got them for me. It was her Christmas gift to me, not last Christmas, but the one before. So this coming, December when Christmas is, it would have been 2 years. I took my nightly pills I took them about 10 minutes after 8, so I took them like 50 minutes ago. So they're kicking in where I'm getting drowsy and ready to fall asleep. So, okay, sweetheart. So thank you for calling. Yeah, sometimes you say that and you never call. Like there's been sometimes in the morning you say, well, I'll talk to you in the morning, and I never hear from you. Yeah. Okay, hon. I'm going to bed now. I'm not going to keep postponing it. I'm going to say good night. And okay. Okay, thank you, sweetheart. And you have fun in whatever you do today. And if you go out and about, make sure you'll be safe. Yeah. Okay, hon. Okay. One, two, three. Okay, hon. I love you. Okay, so night night. Okay. Night night, love. And I will talk to you in the morning if you're awake and you call me before I go to work. Cause I get up at 6, like, cause I start at 7 tomorrow, so which will be 6 p.m. your time. So okay, okay. So night night, my love. I love you very very much, forever and ever and always, hon. I always will. So okay, I'm gonna hang up now. So night night. I love you. Good night. Okay, bye bye. Bye for now. Move up to 36%. Okay. And right now, you know, I'm paid per hour. So, like last week, I had 32 hours. So it'd be 32 hours times $13 an hour. So, so that doesn't change. And hon, it's 6:33, so I'm going to get up and move the camera into the window now. That way I don't have to rush and do it, right before I'm ready to walk out the door. I'll just get it done now. That way I can sit back down to say goodbye to you and stuff like that, rather than saying goodbye and having to rush to hang it up in the window and then leave out the door. So I will go hang it up in the window right now. Put my footrest in the chair down. Make sure the phone doesn't fall over. Nope, it's staying stationary right now. I'm just waiting to see if this thing falls when I get up, but so far it's not going to. So I'm gonna go move the camera right now. See, that's my hummingbird feeder. Okay. And see, that's what I was talking about. It fell over. The hummingbird feeder, yeah. And you'll be able to see it better after I'm gone. You can, angle the camera down and stuff. Then that way you get a picture, better picture of it and stuff. And if you want to, because you'll be recording, so you can just angle it down, and then you can include that in part of the video and stuff. Yep. Because where that hummingbird feeder is, I used to have my flower. Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea when the birds will come around. I really don't know. They just they're always looking for food, and they don't eat food. They just drink. Their food is to drink. The flavored water and stuff. That's where that's what they do to eat. It's just they drink. Whenever they're hungry, they'll just be looking for things like that, because they know that's where they can find something liquid to drink and stuff. So, well, it's 6:37, so I'm going to get going. So, raise this phone back up a little bit here. Okay. Okay, hon. I love you, and I will, hon, and you might be in bed when I get off of work. You might not, but if I am, you sleep well and sweet dreams. If you go to bed before I get home or whatever, and yeah, because you because you said that you want to sleep when it's dark out. So for you it's starting to get dark out right now, and then later on it'll be total darkness out. So it'll be your sleep time while I'm at work. So okay, hon. So I love you, and I'll say we can hang up, say goodbye, and hang up now. So mm, I love you always too, hon, forever and ever and always. So okay, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I love you, sweetheart. Mm, I love you. I love you. I love you. Hang on, phone. Hang on, quick. Yes, I do. Forever and ever and always, hon. Always, always, always. Okay. Bye bye for now. And and I will talk to you probably tomorrow morning before I go to work. Now tomorrow, don't forget, I get up at 5 because tomorrow is new ad day, so I start at 6 tomorrow. So because I start at 6 o'clock every Wednesday because it's a new ad starts for the week. So they have to set up all the change of prices and all that stuff. So tomorrow I get up at 5 and start at 6. So so I will probably, it depends on what time you get up as to what time I go to bed, tonight, as to whether we talk before, before I go to bed, at 9 o'clock tonight. So depends on what time you go to bed as to what time you get up. So, okay, hon, 6:39, so I gotta go. So I will talk to you later. Okay. I love you. Okay, well, I will, hon. I'll be safe. So bye bye for now. I love you. Okay, I'm gonna hang up now. Bye bye. Okay, where'd it go? Okay. Hold on. Cell phone. Key. Love you.